Welcome to the Fantasy Football Clown Show. I'm your host, Ed Smith. Today we're going to take a look at the draft done by Clown2 by our team. I had a co-owner from the great city of Toronto, and he was able to kind of assist in the process of making picks and just kind of allowed me to spill out my thoughts and talk through. So shout out to him and thank you for that. He was sick with COVID for a period of this draft, and so we weren't able to talk as much about maybe some of the whys behind it. So don't want to shortchange that, but feel bad because I feel like I took him down a rabbit hole here on this team. This is one of the worst teams I've ever drafted, honestly, and I'm really analyzing inside whether that's because of where I picked, if it's because of the talent level that I've faced, or just kind of what it is. But we'll kind of go through a little bit of the why behind the picks, and I think that's really an important point of becoming a good fantasy player, is not just reading off the page, taking the best player, or taking the player that you most need, or just following somebody's rankings blind, but find out why they ranked them that way. Find out if you agree with what they're thinking. I find that some of the best things that I've done have been based on experts, if you will, telling me to do it totally different. And I'm like, but that doesn't sound logical, so I'm going to do what I want, and it's worked. Part of that is on the quarterback frenzy that I've created. I've watched it now work year over year over year, and there's a known saying that quarterbacks are cheapest at dynasty startups and rookie drafts, right? So that's pretty well agreed on, that's the cheapest time to buy a quarterback. And then they'll go on to say, but only put 2 or 3 or 4 on your roster. Well, quarterback is a limited position, 32. Quarterback is there's only 32 starters. When a quarterback gets hurt, the handcuff quarterback plays usually 100% of the snaps or close to it. When a running back or receiver get hurt or tight end get hurt, their replacement never plays 100% of the snaps. They play some sort of timeshare. And most times, the quarterback 2 is a clearly defined player, where the running back 2 may or may not be that clearly defined. In Minnesota, Alexander Mattison is pretty clearly defined, except for that Mike Boone comes in and gets touches. You see. So, like, in Cleveland, the number 2, Kareem Hunt, is pretty clearly defined, except for that the Johnson came in and got touches. Like, so even bad players come in and get touches. I mean, that would be like saying the number 3 comes in and gets some reps at the quarterback position. So I kind of took that, and I still draft quarterbacks earlier than most. I found with rookie picks, as we've gone, rookies, guys like Kenny Pickett are going up the board. I just picked him yesterday in a rookie draft at the number 2 spot. And I'll get into that a little bit more when we start going through some of my teams. I've got 62 leagues done now drafting, but I mean, just as we talk about even some of the reasons why here in this league, I think you'll start to gain some of the understanding of at least how I think. Now, I will say that just because I think it doesn't make it right, it makes it my thoughts. And so play the game your way, and there's lots of ways to play the game, and one of the things that I try to do with this setup is make it so that even a player like me doesn't have an advantage, and maybe that I'm in hoard position. So I try to create an ability where I actually think that balance wins the day in this kind of a league. And so you've got to have balance, but you can go heavy on certain positions and not put yourself in a disadvantage. So there are a lot of ways to win. So looking over the draft, we picked out the 101 spot, and we chose the spot, so it was what it was. I went Pat Mahomes over Josh Allen, and my reasoning for that is pretty simple. I go back 2 years ago, Josh Allen wasn't number 1, but Pat Mahomes kind of was. Like, he was at least questionable number 1, and 2 years later, he's still questionable number 1, and I think 2 years from now, he's still going to be questionable number 1. Like, and that's the kind of player I'm looking for. And if I go back 2 years, guys like Lamar Jackson were at the top. And not to say he's bad, he's just not one of the top 3. Guys like Christian McCaffrey were top 1, but he's not bad. He's just not 2 or 3. And so I wanted a guy that was still young enough, but I thought would have a likelihood of being top 3 years from now as well. And so, wanted to kind of make sure I used my pick on somebody that had a good shot to still be the number one. So that was why I went with him over Josh Allen. Nothing against Josh Allen, had plenty of Josh Allen, like Josh Allen. Just felt like it was just a safer play. And with that pick, I just didn't want to be wrong. And so that's kind of where we were. So when you pick first, you don't pick again until the 24th pick in the draft, and there we went with the 101 rookie pick. And my theory was I thought I was going to get quarterback 2, in that spot because this was prior to the NFL draft. So was excited to actually get Malik Willis with the pick was where I had it planned. And then I didn't pick again because of third round reversal, which is another way to kind of even the playing field, until pick 36. And one more rookie went, so I thought it was time to just come in and get the 103. And then that allowed for me to, with the 37th pick in the draft, to come back and take another rookie. So started the draft, Mahomes, rookie, 101, 103, 104. As you guys know how the draft kind of panned out, we know what those kind of became, downstream. With the 5th and 6th round, I'm a running back drafter. I mean, it probably comes from my leagues in the 80s and 90s. I like running backs, and even though they have a short shelf life, I try to go young and then see where they go. But so with the 5th and 6th picks, Gibson and Akers felt like both were in their early 20s. We'll see what they are. It's about right as far as when you pick them. I mean, I don't think I reached for them. I think I just kind of took them at value. They were there, and I took them. Also was thinking I have those 3 rookie picks. Don't know what they are, but maybe there'll be some rookies. Coming back in the 7th and 8th, there were still in the first round of rookies, and I thought that was a little bit actually a good value. So have Mahomes, have 2 running backs that I think could be 1 and 2 in my running back room. Shot back and took the 108, 109 with the 7th and 8th pick. So now we're at 5 first round rookie picks. And what that does is now I'm not controlling this draft. This vet started up very well from the turn, double banging, but I did make some surprises with 3 and the 4 and the 8 and the 9 and the 2 running backs in the middle there on my double taps. And so now I'm starting runs. I did do that effectively. So after I take Gibson and Akers, I force people into taking lesser running backs. When I take those 2 first round picks, then I force people to start taking players off the board, the rookie picks off the board as well. So, and I have 5. So 5 of the top 12 I have, or actually 5 of the top 9 I have. And so I'm going to control that rookie draft as well, and where we go. In the 9th pick, there's not very many starting quarterbacks left, so I went Daniel Jones, Michael Carter. So now we got a running back 3 and a quarterback 2, no matter what happens in the world with the rookie picks. And then come back around, and there's no starting quarterbacks anymore except for Jimmy G, who I think will start somewhere. And I thought, well, I'm going to take him and just at least have, now whatever happens in the rookie draft, I'm positioned that I feel like the best players in the rookie draft are the receivers. So, I'll take a couple receivers is what's my plan right there, and then I'll just use those rookies, and I feel like the running back room is okay. Now I'm backfilling some quarterbacks, so all I'm lacking here is tight ends. Came back in the 12th, and I guess the 11th and 12th. I took Jimmy G because he was there, and I thought, well, we're only at the 202. I think I'm gonna, that's still in the top 14. I think I'm just gonna pop a rookie, and so I did. When it came back 13th and 14th round, again the rookies, they hadn't come off the board like I expected, so I just popped them and took the 6 and the 7, and so that would be 18 and 19. So now we're looking at, while 5 top 9 picks, now we have 8 top 19 picks. And so, that really felt like a control of the rookie draft. And then in the 15th round, I'm like, well, we have no tight ends. There's no tight ends in the rookie draft, outside of McBride, so I better take one. And so I took the high upside of Tommy Tremble, and I figured I'll start to figure some of that out. Now, obviously, we drafted a lot more than 15, but I usually put 15 on the chart just to kind of see. And so as I look at those top 15, I felt like the value of the running backs were falling down, and I try to look at both drafts together of what I think I might get, but I don't want to force myself into feeling like I have to pick a position when we start looking at the rookie drafts. Who I took with those rookie picks, so you guys can kind of think, did I reach, with where I got him. So with the 101, I took him in the last pick of the second round. I got Brees Hall. Well, that I don't think was too terrible of a reach. If you were in a vet startup draft, Brees Hall at 124 or at the 212 position. I took Drake London at the 312 with the 103, so that felt pretty good. And then I took Kenny Pickett in the fourth round of my vet startup. That might be a little bit there, but the reason I wanted Pickett over maybe Burks or Wilson was I feel like there was only one quarterback in this draft that was likely to start this year, and so I kind of wanted to have him. And so with Pickett, Mahomes, um, Dan Jones, and Jimmy G, I actually have 4 starting quarterbacks of the possible 32. As we get going here, so I feel like I'm well underway to having a full team, that could compete, but maybe doesn't compete even because they're so young. With pick 8 and pick 9 in the first round, I was able to take Jameson Williams and Sky Moore, so 2 more receivers with Drake London. So that kind of forms out probably my top 3 receivers. I mean, as you see, I didn't use any picks on them, but there's a lot of young youth there, and some of them will come in to become something. And I was kind of thinking that I might get receivers in the second round that were dart throws, and with 6 receivers I'd be okay. However, to my surprise, actually was able to get 3 running backs out of those second round picks with James Cook, Spiller, and Algier. And I would say this, that I always draft the best player in rookie drafts, because a famous saying is that if you draft for need, you always need to draft for need. And I think that Cook at 14 was a little bit light. I think Spiller at 18 was a little bit light. Algier at 19 might have been about right in the rookie draft, but I felt like at that point those were my best shots to having assets that would win. And so if you start to think about it, that's now with Hall being running back 4 essentially, if you count Carter ahead, but maybe he'll drop. Now Cook is running back 5, Spiller is running back 6, and Algier is running back 7 on my roster. And so, and I was taking Algier, if you also think about that, in the 14th round, Spiller in the 13th round, Cook in the 12th round. I'm still getting pretty good value for those guys if you put them in the vet startup. So I feel like I was still getting better quality players than I would have gotten if we just drafted this right out of the pickle boat as a startup. So that's kind of the breakdown of what we did with Clown 2. Bittersweet on Clown 2. This is going to be the last league that is run like this, with the $50 entry and the no membership fee, and just because we're trying to branch into some other things with the community. And so just thank you guys for all being part of the Clown network and being a clown head, and look forward to some of the more frequent content that we have coming forward in the future. So thanks again for being part of it. Hit that subscribe button, the like button as well, and we'll look forward to talking to you next time.